What's up, folks? Oh my goodness, what's going on? This is Michael on the graveyard shift in the wee hours of the night with your daily trivia question. Once again, I'm roving again, folks. I'm bouncing around from community to community. I'm back in the North Hills area. Hope everything's going well. Happy Tuesday. Happy Valentine's Day, too. That's what I'm talking about. Hope you have a good one. That's my favorite part of the song. Anyways, let's get right to it, folks. It's only Tuesday, and we've got a long week ahead of us. So getting right through it, the answer to the previous trivia question was, of course, none other than Archie. Everybody knows Archie, the famous comic strip character. He's been in Sunday papers for the longest time as well. So his name is Archie. His full name was Archie Evans, and this goes back to the 1940s. The character Archie first appeared in what was known as Pep Comics, right? And his debut was publication number 22 in December of 1941, right? This is prior to the trivia question, right? Pep Comics was a significant part of an era known as what was known as the Golden Age of comics. And this is the kind of stuff that collectors really go after. Okay, I'll get a little bit more into that later. This is like a 20-year period between the 30s and the 50s, right? Marvel superheroes, series characters like Archie had their origin during this time. Okay, the Archie character proved to be so popular in and of himself that he was very shortly awarded his own self-titled and ongoing comic book series, which began publication very shortly after December of 41. This is February of 42 when Archie got his own magazine, right? His own comic, if you will. That was the focus of the trivia question. And this ran, folks, until June of 2015. Now let that set in. That's quite a run for a comic book character, right? That's pretty amazing. So one of the main storylines and what wound up being the primary reason Archie was so popular in the comic book world was his long-standing love triangle he gets caught up in that was equally popular between the characters Betty and Veronica, of course. Now, this began right from one of the very first issues called Love Showdown, which I'm sure is a collector's issue in and of itself, where Archie gets a love letter in the mail, and Betty and Veronica both swear it was not from them. This continued for years between the three of them, right? It makes for good comics. It wasn't until 2009 that Archie Comics released plans for what they would call the Archie story of the century, and actually announced that Archie Andrews would ask Veronica Lodge to marry him in a 6-part story release. Now, serious comic book readers and enthusiasts and collectors and so forth did not care for this at all. They were up in arms over it, and attempts were later made to try and satisfy everyone, whereas this was simply a fantasy, right? Kind of like, season 4 of Dallas, if you will, or something. I don't know which season it was, where Bobby's in the shower at the end, and, it was just a dream, right? Something along those lines. And the first half of the story would show Archie's life with Veronica, and then the second half would show his life with Betty. Something to that effect. I'm not a comic book enthusiast, and I'm not as savvy as some of the serious diehard collectors are on Archie, but it was something along those lines, right? So check this out. A second series began publication in July of 2014 or 15 rather, where Archie kind of gets a makeover of sorts. And there's a picture of the first series from the 40s up top, and below is the 2015 series. And you can see he got himself a new haircut, got himself some new clothes, a new modern look, whole new outfit. He's looking pretty sharp, actually. This new look was geared more towards contemporary teenage and young adult readers, and it had a new format altogether as well. And I think that ran up until they stopped publishing Archie, I think, if my research serves me correctly. Now, the reboot, there's a couple of cool geek factoids about Archie. The reboot in 2015 featured the character Archie dating a character named Valerie Smith when their two rock bands, go on tour together. And this is Archie Comics' first interracial relationship. So that was a pretty cool first. And also in the reboot was the first appearance of Veronica's cousin named Harper, who is physically disabled and needs to use a wheelchair to get around. So the comic book people who are putting this stuff out, they delved into some new firsts, which is pretty cool. And I don't know if you've ever gotten into comics. I have worked with a couple of night owls actually that I worked with on the graveyard shift in the wee hours, who were comic book collectors, and they could talk endlessly about this stuff. It is apparently a very serious collector's type of a obsession to get into. I'm wondering what the appeal is. Is it just the characters, the stories, the fact that it's like comic books? I guess I can kind of understand because I'm a vinyl collector. I go crazy over vinyl records. I probably along the same lines as far as the feeling of having that, collecting that kind of stuff. And I'm curious to know if you guys got any collector stuff out there. So hit me up and let me know for sure. If you got any old Archie episodes. All right, folks, let's get to Valentine's Day. Let's get to Tuesday. Let's keep on going. It's just the beginning of the week, folks. We got a long way to go, and I'm going to be here all week long. So your new trivia question for February 14th. On this day, in 1849, in New York City, James Polk becomes the first serving U.S. president to have this done by a young man named Matthew Brady, who would go on to make a name for himself by doing the same thing throughout the Civil War. Here's Def Leppard with a little clue. Have yourself a good day, folks. Peace out.